Did you know that the average person spends about 90,000 hours working? And then it got me thinking, what if I could literally buy some of those hours back? Not by 65, not by retirement age, but by 55. Hi, my name is Zena, and you're watching the Multipotentialite series, which is just a candid journey of me pursuing purpose, success, and growth across my faith, my relationships, my finances, my businesses, and self care. And it's just me proving to you that you don't need to fit into a box to have a truly meaningful life. No, I'm retiring by 35. And what exactly do I mean by retiring? So, retiring, yeah, what do I mean by retiring? Okay, so let's just clear some things up, right? So, I'm not really looking to never work again because when we think about retirement, we think about, okay, I'm done, my years of work is over, it's done with. I'm not really talking about that, but what I'm talking about is freedom. The thing is, the truth is, I love to create and I love to build things, and I just have too many ideas just to sit down and not do anything, or just to sit down and just kind of be at home. And while retirement might include like traveling and stuff like that based on what your retirement plan is, you know, I still want to be able to do projects, but at my own pace and at my own will without money being a factor, right? So, if you've ever followed me, you'll know that before breakfast, I have like 17 million careers going on because I tend to have a lot of ideas outside of the current things I'm pursuing. I always have ideas. Execution now, that's a whole different ballgame, but that's okay. For me, retirement means freedom, and it means freedom to choose the products that I want to choose. It means spending time with my loved ones, hopefully by the age of 35. I'm already married, maybe with my first kid, probably the second kid on the way. I don't know. Let's see what God has in store for that. Freedom to me also means prioritizing my health. My health right now has been a huge priority for me, and maybe I'll have a video talking about that soon because I do have two other tests that I need to get done right now. My hand is probably swollen, I don't know, but it's me prioritizing. Freedom to me is prioritizing my health and my self-care, my faith as well, very very important to me. And it's also me means to create, because without money being a factor, not creating because okay, rent and mortgage due and light bill due and all of them things, you understand, granted those things won't go away, but I'm trying to build a life that even with those things, it doesn't really matter because I have the money and we have the wealth, and we all want to have money anyway. So that's the kind of life I want to live. And in my crazy little head, I'm assuming that I can achieve it by age 35. So the question that comes to mind is, you know, how do I build that kind of life? How exactly will I build that kind of life? All right. So, how did I start thinking this way before we get into that, right? Like, before we get into the plan, before we get into how I'm going to achieve all of that, I remember when I had a meeting with a financial advisor. He was trying to get me to get a critical illness plan, which, by the way, I need to get that back. But a critical illness plan, and I did get the plan and everything, but one of the goals he asked me like, "What's one of your major goals?" Off the top of my head, I said, "I want to retire by age 35," and I did not say that because I'm crazy. I'm partly am, but I didn't say that because I'm crazy. I said that because I would have said it before, and people are like, "Nah, not realistic," and I like to prove people wrong. So me saying that was really petty, but in a good way, because especially now it's put me on a trajectory where it's like, okay, I need to achieve what I need to achieve. Not to say that if I don't achieve it by 35, I'm gonna be, you know sad about it or angry about it or like feel like a failure, but I'm like, I said it, I put it out there, and now I need to get it done. You know? So I don't want to be the type of person that age 40 going into 50s, I'm bogged down in the same job, in the same career, at the same place. And I think that's the fear and the driving factor that has pushed me towards, this, oh, I'm retiring by age 35 thing, right? Time is such a valuable asset. If you're a business owner, you know that time is a valuable asset. Um, Especially when it comes to when to do this and when to do that, when to post, when to, send out pitches, when to do, it's a very valuable asset. We cannot waste it. When I say time is money, time is literally money. You understand? And I want to also live a holistic life. And I don't want to just have success in one area and then fail in the rest. I don't want to be have a thriving bank account and then have a neglecting my spiritual life. I don't want, my business to grow and then have zero self care. I don't want to, finally reach some, financial goals and realize that I haven't spoken to my friends in months, literally, you know. So, and this is where I introduce the whole life philosophy. If you're a marketer, you know that we have these things called content pillars. So, these are the 5 pillars that I'm living by in my whole life philosophy. So, we have faith, we have relationships, we have health and self care, we have finances, we have purpose and well, purpose or work, right? So these are the things that I'm focusing on when it comes to pillars, right? And the goal isn't to just strive in one area and then fail in the rest of them, or strive in 2 areas and fail in the rest of them. Is it possible to strive in all of them? Sure, it is. It's totally possible. But you have to put some backative behind that. So how do we put it? What are we gonna do? What is the strategy? Again, with my marketing brain, right? So what is the strategy? I am going to have multiple streams of income. So I've already started some in terms of I want to do more consulting and coaching, business ventures, quite a few business ventures and projects. I'm going to talk about that soon. Investments, definitely. Um, YouTube to a lesser extent, but if God wills it, oh yes, that would be great. And if I can do brand partnerships. So that's me putting my shoot my shot. Yeah. you know. But those are my main things that I'm thinking about when it comes to multiple streams of income, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You could do a digital product. That's a multiple stream of income. You could do, as I said, I want to do coaching and consulting. I love content marketing. I love creative strategy, right? And that is where my business Digital Design comes in, which I'll talk about later on. I love all of these things, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. So those are the multiple streams of income. So to be truthful, none of these are gonna make me retire by tomorrow. Never, won't. It not gonna happen. But if they did, or if they could, I'd probably be filming this from my yacht, or in the Maldives, or somewhere, probably Japan, or I don't know, a beach in the background or something. Or maybe I wouldn't even be on here, but we're documenting the journey. But and the goal isn't necessarily a massive paycheck either. The goal is creating several streams that will eventually become a river. And when it becomes a river, it's going to flow into the sea and into the ocean. You get it? You get the big picture. Great. So this is where I I'm going to interject a little bit and tell you a little bit about my businesses. So when it comes to business ventures, I have quite a few. We have Hot Studios, which is my multimedia businesses. This is where I do content creation. I also do videography for weddings. I also do live streaming. Well, not just videography for weddings, but that's one of the things that I offer. I also do live streaming specifically for funerals. But if you want to do other events, trust me, I'm on board because we're wanting to expand into, more events, especially when it comes to weddings. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. We have done a few weddings already, and I'm so excited. The next business venture is digital design, which would have mentioned is my creative strategy and content marketing businesses. I've realized there is a gap, especially in Jamaica, especially in the Caribbean, where y'all don't really know how to do the right content, and I'm here to help. Now, this business is in the very, 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 very zygote stage, but hopefully before the end of summer, it will be a newborn baby, and by the end of the year, it will be a toddler going into maybe adolescence. We're hoping, but this is something I'm very passionate about. Content, not just on social media, although I'll be focusing a lot of content on social media, but producing the right content for the right audiences to achieve, the KPIs and the OKRs and all of these things that businesses have, because sometimes we post and there's no meaning behind the post them. There's no meaning behind the strategy or thinking behind the email content, email marketing, whatever it may be, and that is where I'm trying to bridge the gap. It is also a company that will work closely with Hawk Studios because we do content creation as well, where we come in to your business. So, say for example, you want a month's worth of content. We come into your business 1, 2 days, we get it done, and we produce it for you, and that is your content for the month or for the quarter, whatever it may be. Then we have the founding woman, which is essentially more of a coaching, type of page. It doesn't have a model where we're creating profit as yet. The business model is not for profit right now. It will eventually lead into that, but my whole mantra right now is to show women that they can do whatever they said they're going to do, and I'm gonna be the example. Yeah, I'm gonna be the example, and I'm gonna show you how to do it, how to get it done. Okay, baby. And then we have Body JA, which that has been my baby since high school, which is a fitness and wellness business. And we're coming bigger and better in 2027. But until then, you can expect videos, you can ask me questions. I'm working on my certification. Fingers crossed by the end of the year, fully certified, and we'll be going full fledged in the new year. And we have House Events, which is a subsidiary of Hawk Studios, because since we already do a lot of events, why not do rental of decor and installations, So we are launching all of that. We do have quite a few arches and decor pieces, and we'll be working closely with a team to also offer installation type decor as well. And finally, we have Forever Bloom 25, which is more of a seasonal business where I bring my passion for fashion and, accessories. Y'all see the accessories. But yeah, I bring my passion for fashion into it all. And there are times when I'll just bring a season of, new collections and things like that. And I'm just super excited about that. So that's more of like a passion project, on and off project, seasonal project. But yeah, these are my ventures. So when it comes to another thing or another strategy that I'm using to actually, retire by 35, systems.
And a lot of you may be like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Why do I need system? Why do I need processes? All of these things.
The truth is, it works. It works. I have seen it work. I live a very chaotic life. My life is very chaotic. I'm not always organized, naturally organized. I have to force myself to do these things. But I've been testing these things out, systems out, and they work. So if it works, why not continue with it, for many years I've been like, oh, I love a spontaneous life. I don't want every day to be the same. I don't want this, to be my life to be predictable. But sometimes progress is made in predictability. So for example, you know that, okay, you work best in the mornings. Wake up as early as you can, go to bed as early as you can so you can wake up as early as you can, because you know you work best in the mornings. So if it is that you have to be repeating the same thing in the morning, right? If it is that your schedule, your routine is the same every day so you can wake up early in the morning, that's just what you gotta do. Okay? So when it comes to, systems that may include things like time blocking, content batching, these are just examples. Batch your content. Like what I do, one of my plans is always every end of month, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would film. I haven't really fully gotten around to doing it exactly like that, but every Tuesdays and Thursdays at the end of the month, I will film 2 videos those days. So in the end, I'll end up having 4 videos, those 4 videos for the next month, right? You see how that works out? You see? So instead of filming each week or every other week, to help to keep the momentum going, I'm already putting the system in place to know that every end of the month, unless something else comes up, and if something else comes up, we pivot. You also need to learn how to pivot. And that's also should be included in your systems. What happens when something doesn't go as planned or isn't going to go as planned? What is the plan B to that plan A? So you learn to pivot. So as I was saying, content batching is an example of a system. Time blocking, blocking off time for this, that, the third, self-care at this time, quiet time at this time, work hours at this time. Block your time, because there's this thing called Parkinson's law, right? You will take as much time as you give yourself. So if you say, okay, I'm going to clean my room, and don't give yourself a time limit, you'll probably take the whole day to clean your room. But say if you give yourself an hour, maybe you'll go a little bit over the hour, but knowing that you have an hour in your mind, you're playing against time, and remember, time is money. We don't have time to be wasting, right? So you give yourself an hour, you're going to try and get it done within that hour. So things like that, automations, love automations. You see this thing, iPhone? Yeah? Work on your automations on your phone. Just saying. And if you want to know some of the automations that I use on my phone, just let me know in the comments below. I have one for in the morning. So as long as my alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, just know it's turning on my gospel playlist. Right? I know that playlist out of my head. I know which song is coming. The point is, it's turning on the gospel playlist, and it's also opening the Bible app. Because if it were up to me, I would go back to sleep. Or if I do take up my phone, I would end up on social media first. So do not sleep on automations. I'm not just talking on the phone, but you can automate a lot of the things in your life. But iPhone, work on your automations. Love me some Notion, love. I've been working on planning my routines, and routines that work with my lifestyle, that can sometimes be unpredictable, in the sense that sometimes I'm not set where I am, right? But it's fine. And just going through and seeing what works best, because just because you set a system or you set a series of processes doesn't mean that you have to stick with it if you realize that it's not working. It's all about testing it out, right? So I don't have a perfectly optimized life, right? But the point is to get as close as possible as you can. My life is literally still slightly chaotic, but I know in the next 6 months it would be a lot less chaotic. Still chaotic, but a lot less. Because the thing is, when you stick to your systems, they become habits. Habits that, will stick to you, that no matter what life throws at you, yeah. Mm-hmm, you're gonna stick to it, or it's gonna stick to you, whatever. But systems aren't perfect, but they are, helping me to my systems rather aren't perfect, but they're helping me to reinvent the wheel, every week, and to help me to go beyond, you know what my limitations, and achieve the things that I said I would. So the thing is, you guys know that I'm interested in many things and I am trying to build multiple goals simultaneously, right? And it might seem like maybe, okay, she's not focused, she's not all over the place, but maybe I am. And I'm seeing the results. I can't wait to show y'all. But people often think that you have to choose one thing, you have to stay in one lane, that you have to pick one identity, one lane, one dream, um, one version of success. But the more I learn about myself, the more I go through life, especially as I'm approaching 30, I realized that I wasn't built that way. I don't know about you, but I wasn't built that way. And I'm sure the fact that I exist, there are persons like me who exist. And, I there's not a lot of content around all of this, like not necessarily how to do it all, but the journey of having that holistic life where you can achieve quite a lot doing a lot in a sense. But yeah, remember the whole point of this channel is to document how I am multifaceted, multilingual. I need to be talking more Spanish on this channel. See, I'm a little bit que hablar más. Necesito. But, slightly chaotic Christian woman decides to pursue all things, that I'm called to do, because I do believe that I'm called to do the things that I'm currently doing. But yeah, um, I'm not glorifying hustle culture. I am not saying that everyone a needs multiple streams of income. I'm not saying that, you have to have everything figured out. I don't want this video to come across as, oh, look at me, I'm doing all these things. I don't want to be a circus in a a monkey in a circus, on display for people to see. Because frankly, I'm not doing it all. Some days I'm productive, some days I'm overwhelmed, some days my to-do list wins, some days it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? The point is that I want to show that progress is possible. So I keep saying it's not a highlight reel. It's not to put me on display. It's not to brag about my successes, you know? And it's also to show that perfection is not needed to move the needle forward either, you know? So the thing is, maybe I may not retire by age 35. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe it's wishful thinking. Maybe my head is in the clouds. Maybe I'll retire by 36. Maybe I'll retire by 40, you know? But that's not really the point. The point is that every decision that I'm making today and every decision that you make literally is buying back a little more freedom for tomorrow. It's buying back a little more freedom that you can have tomorrow. Because the thing is, the hard thing is going to always be hard. So you have to choose if you want to do the hard thing now or if you want a harder life later, right? And if you're on your own journey of, trying to live an intentional life, welcome. Welcome if you're new. And if you're new, subscribe if this is your vibe. If you're not so new, thank you for staying. And welcome to, living that intentional life and making the plans and, you know, formulating the ideas and executing upon them. We're literally just all here trying to figure it out. And while you're here, as we end, comment below and let me know. If money wasn't a factor, what is your ideal day? Like, what do you want your actual ideal day to look like? And the reason I ask that is simply because, when you're trying to build the life that you want, answering that question makes it becomes a lot more clearer. So let me know and I'll see you on the next one.